Welcome to Hawk Talks Alumni Career Spotlights hosted by the Career Development Center and Alumni Relations. My name is Bella Kokoza and I'm a political science major at SJU graduating this May. I'm also the human resource intern at the Career Development Center and I will be moderating today's session. Throughout the series, we've invited alumni to join us for conversations about their careers in order to give you insight into different career paths, industries, and to get advice on how to enter and thrive within these fields. These sessions will be recorded. Our guest today is Gabriela Poveda Posada. Welcome, Gabriela.
Thank you.
Gabriela graduated. Welcome. Gabriela graduated from SJU in 2018 with a triple major in marketing, international business and leadership, and ethics and organizational sustainability. She currently works as a sales associate for the popular grocery delivery service Instacart. After graduating from St. Joe's, Gabriela began her career working as a sales representative at Hormel Foods, where she interned during her undergraduate career. We are so excited to welcome Gabriela back to Hawk Hill and to hear her story. I have a list of 10 questions I will be asking you today, followed by 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A from our listeners. Audience, please feel free to write your questions in the chat box that will be shared with our guests during the Q&A at the end of the session. Okay, do you have any questions before we start, Gabriela?
No, I'm excited.
Yeah, welcome. So let's get started. We're going to begin with a series of career-focused questions. The first being, could you please describe within your current role the core responsibilities and what a typical workday or week looks like for you?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I am a sales associate now at Instacart. And my role really is to help brands advertise on our platform. So I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with Instacart, but the featured products that you see all over the page through your shopping experience, that's what I sell. And I particularly work within the frozen vertical. So please everyone go out and buy tons of ice cream and pizzas and things like that to help me out. But a typical day or week, it's honestly ever changing. I think in sales overall, there's always so much to do and it's always putting out fires, and that's kind of what drawn me to sales. So my typical day really changes, but I have a book of business at about 30. So it's really just amending to them, seeing if they have questions, answering emails, creating decks, presentations, and kind of continue to partner with the brands that I work with.
Awesome. All right, our next question is, when did you know that this was the career path that you wanted to pursue and what led you to this decision?
Oh my gosh, I don't think I even still know, but I don't know, a couple of things I really think that drew me to this career path. One is St. Joe's. I don't think without St. Joe's I would necessarily be here. I really loved all the opportunities that St. Joe's gave me. And I was always really always willing to raise my hand and be like, yeah, I can do this. So yeah, let me throw myself in this. And I think all of the networking and all of the career fairs and all the great mentors I had at St. Joe's is what led me to where I am now. In terms of, did I know this is the route I wanted to take? No. I wanted, like I said, I was international business and marketing mostly. And I wanted to go into marketing and work for an international company. And I kind of just stumbled upon Hormel, and Hormel was a really good opportunity. And culture has always been a big thing for me in terms of any place that I go. And when that door closed, Instacart opened and I just kind of took it. And that's kind of where it's led me. But it wasn't necessarily that I planned this, but it's definitely the doors have been open. But it's all, I would say, it led me off thanks to St. Joe's.
Yeah, so good to hear. All right, the next question is, what is the typical career path for an entry-level associate within your organization?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's a great topic and top of mind right now, because right now we're actually hiring for 20 entry-level associates. Right now our team is 7 for that specific role. So they're growing out to want to be by 30 by May. So if there are any seniors or anyone knows of any seniors that are interested, I'd be more, Bella, I can send you the link to the position. So if people want to apply.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can post that.
You can pass it along.
That's awesome.
No, it's incredible. We are growing. And because of all the growth and because of the culture that we have, your path can really go anywhere.
Yeah.
With my recent mentors, I'm actually really kind of focusing on that right now, just because at Hormel, it's a really long career path to become a manager. But at a place like Instacart, they really want to use your skill sets to just grow you wherever you see fit. And this is kind of the first time, and it's obviously a little scary where you're like, oh my God, like I can be a manager and I can be a VP one day and I can lead this team and I can lead this organization. And so with Instacart, you can really take it wherever you want to go as long as you have a foot in the door, and then you kind of just express what your strengths and weaknesses are and continue to grow within that. Yeah. But yes, everyone should definitely apply. I highly recommend Instacart. And like I said, we're hiring like crazy for New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and LA.
Sounds great. I will let the office know and we will post that if it's not already posted on Handshake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you enjoy the most about your profession, and what is something that you wish you could change?
What I love about my profession, I love sales. I think for me, it's a unique story. I think people kind of come from the sales perspective of, they had an internship, but I think I started selling when I was 5. And it's funny because Sam's on the call and she's probably laughing right now because she knows my mother, but my mom has sold, she's a psychologist, but has sold her entire life. And when I was younger, she was a single mother. And when she was a single mother, she, would do her day job, and then she would go buy things that people needed and then upsell them, and would be on the streets, like selling to people in Colombia. Yeah. And I was 5 years old. I was telling people that the color purple looked great on them because we had a purple shirt. So I think for me, that it just kind of led me to this. So I really enjoy it because it's my passion. I love selling, and it's also great when you sell a product that you're proud of. So when I was at Hormel, I was selling spam. So I was like passionate about the spam brand. I thought it was so cool. And now I sell a product on Instacart, and I'm like, this is exciting. Like, this is helping brands, not like Hormel, but like your mom and pop shop brands have an e-commerce presence. And that excites me. I'm like, they have an opportunity to shine here. Yeah. I guess like that's kind of why I enjoy most about my profession. But something that I think if I could change, oh gosh, if I could change.
This is a question that everyone seems to like struggle with. So totally fine if you can't think of anything.
I think the only thing is like, I think sales sometimes has this first conceived idea of like you, especially at entry level, that it's a lot of cold calling. So I think if I would change, I would maybe change the perception of what sales entails. And just kind of hope more people are open to it, because there's so many different avenues within sales.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So my next question is, what has surprised you the most about your career?
I think that I'm here. I've always had like visions in my head, and I'm always one to be like, okay, let go and let God. Let's go to church. Let's hear Father Joyce. What does he have to say? Think it over and just be like, all right, God, take the wheel. And for me, I've always been that way when I have to make big decisions. Like even like on Saturday, my boyfriend was like, should we get a dog? I was like, let me pray on it. I had a dream about a dog. We got a dog on Sunday. So if you see in the background.
Oh my gosh, what type of dog? I know that everyone wants to know.
It is a cute lab. It's so cute.
I have a golden doodle, so I'm obsessed with dogs. I have to like keep him out during these sessions, but so cute. We love puppies.
So cute. And I'm like, I was like, I've never been really like a dog person. My boyfriend really has. And he was like, we really need to get one at some point. Like, I'll only date you if we get one. So I was like, okay, ready? I'll like unblur my screen. I know everyone.
I see the legs.
Look at it. Say hi.
So cute. I'm sure this just boosted everyone's mood, and puppies make everything better. So
but so I think what surprised me most is just being here. I think when I was a freshman, I was like, you know what? Yeah, like I've always loved international business, but actually until I was 18, I wanted to be a trauma surgeon. So I was like, you know what, let me just switch from that and go into trauma surgeon. And then when I did that, I found it, I went from trauma surgeon to international business, loved it. But I was like, you know what? I, love international, want to go somewhere. And then I was like, you know what? I really like marketing. And then I somehow ended up being a triple major, and I swear I'm not a nerd. I did not spend my nights in the library. Like I just somehow finagled the system. Sorry, St. Joe's, but like I only had 40 classes, didn't take any summer classes, like and went abroad. So like somehow the cards played out for me.
It's still so impressive though.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, it's cool. I love it. And I remember going into my like career center at the time. It was Lisa. I don't know if she's still there, but I was like, Lisa, I think I can do a triple major. She goes, I don't know if anyone's done this before. I'm like, well, I want to, and I have all the classes, so I'm going to do it. And then, so like, it just surprised me where like my path has taken, and the fact that I'm here. I knew I wanted a paid internship that paid for my housing. I found Hormel, and then I was like, you know what, I want to move somewhere. And then they offered me to relocate me to San Francisco. And then I wanted to go into the tech space, and then Instacart came out of nowhere. So the most surprising thing is like everything's that I've actually like put out into the universe has worked for me. So yeah, I probably would say that's probably the most surprising. I'm like, wow, I really do live in San Francisco and I own a dog. And
That's awesome to hear. So now we are going to shift gears to focus on different actions students can take. And I would also like to remind our listeners to post any questions you have in the chat, and they will be shared during the Q&A. So I'm going to ask you about internships in a moment, but for now, what 2 to 3 experiences would you suggest that students engage in while still in college to help them prepare for entering this field upon graduation?
Find anything that you're passionate for and do it. For me, I love sports, so I interned at the Phillies. I love event planning, so I worked with Advent and I helped like the Bud Light party, and then for the Super Bowl I was a Bud Light girl. So anything that you find passions for, try to find a role or a job that would kind of allow you to gain some experience in that, because I think it's super transferable when then you go and have interviews. So I think honestly that, and really be a sponge, like, you know, go to networking events, mingle, you know, you never know what door is going to open from who you meet. I was always very involved in student. Actually, I was president of Student Alumni Association when I was there, and I loved meeting all the alumni, hearing all the conversations. I also love that I got to go to the gala for free once a year that they do. So I would say just really just put yourself out there, find something you're passionate for as your extracurricular, but then really network with anyone and everyone.
Yeah, completely agree. That's such good advice. You kind of touched upon this, but how did your SJU education impact how you work and or the career decisions you've made to date?
Yeah, I think also, like, for me, I love the Jesuit values, and like your personalis is something that always has resonated with me. And I think as I'm making like strategic decisions about where I want to be in my job, or who do I want to work for, or what roles do I want to go for, I think for me, I always think back to what did St. Joe's teach me, and especially being a Leo major. I think if Dr. Dufresne knew that I was working for unsustainable company, he would smack me and be like, Gabby, did I teach you nothing? So I think that I always have like some certain teachers, like Professor Alaruso. He was my management professor, and I'm still very close with him. And he was just like, Gabby, like, you know, teach me. And I think finding those mentors within my SJU organization have been extremely critical in terms of when I'm finally deciding I want to pivot careers or change industries or, you know, whatever it may be. So I think that part of like my overall SJU education has really impacted like how I work and how I decide where I want to work.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now moving on to internships. What types of internships should students try to secure to prepare for a role like yours or within your industry?
Yeah, so my industry is a little bit different because I'm technically speaking in the tech industry, working on food products. So I still think I'm in the food industry, but technically speaking, I'm not anymore, according. So I would say a couple of things. I think St. Joe's is extremely well known for its food marketing program. And do you want to go, you know, within, you know, an Instacart or like an Uber or anything like that, I think gaining any food kind of knowledge is super helpful. So whether you have an internship, like an official internship, like I did with Hormel, or if you spent a summer being a back boy at Wegmans, or if you know, anything like that, I think is extremely beneficial. And I think too, with internships, I would say like, go out and, you know, try to find them. You know, whether it's, you know, I've had internships that were non-paid, but, you know, gained really good experience, had internships that paid that I literally did nothing. But it's really just going out there and trying new things and any experience is better than no experience. And I would also say for internships, I know the money piece is nice, but I wouldn't necessarily fully focus on that because, like I said, some of the places where I truly gained the most experience have been unpaid.
Yeah, I was
And
same with me. So I completely get it.
so I'm like, you know what? Like, no, this was a really good experience. I can touch on this. I can build on this and continue to grow from this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably, you know, in terms of internships, yeah, I would say probably the food industry, but really in general, just find anything, because I think there's always especially going into an entry level position here, all we're looking for is for someone who has drive. Like, you don't even have to have sales experience, but as long as you're driven and you're motivated and you're somewhat competitive because you want to do better, that's all we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have 2 final questions for you. The first is, what is something that you wish someone would have told you when you were still in school?
Oh my gosh, to be honest, to go out more. That's like my personal one. I guess professionally, I think I wish I leveraged LinkedIn more. From a professional setting. I think sometimes I did go to a lot of great networking events, but then I would have their business card and then be like, oh, maybe if I see them later. But I think it was a missed opportunity to continue to add them and be a quick message. So nice meeting you at this event. So if later down the line, you have a mutual connection, if you go to your messages, you're like, oh, this is where I met this person. So I think that's something that I would definitely wish I would have done more of, is just so that way my network would have stayed a little bit more close knit, and I could have had it all in one place.
Yeah, that's a really great piece of advice. Thank you. Okay, so this is kind of like a similar question, but the second question is, what is a piece of advice you would give to students who are interested in a similar career path?
I'm trying to think of saying things that I haven't already said.
It's hard.
I know. For this one, I would say connect with me on LinkedIn. I would be more than happy to have conversations and coffee chats with students. Absolutely. And just express my point of view, critique resumes, go over interview preps. So I would say a piece of advice, if you kind of want to follow this path, or you're more curious about it and want to learn more, connect with LinkedIn, and I'd be more than happy to have more conversations.
Okay. Great. Hopefully some of our students will. That's so exciting. Thank you so much for answering all those questions, Gabriela. Now we're going to transition into the Q&A portion of this session. My colleague Erin from the Career Development Center is going to address the questions that students have entered into the chat box, which I don't believe anyone has. So everyone, please send your questions. I actually have a question for you, Gabriela, if you wouldn't mind. How has COVID impacted your work and Instacart?
Yeah. So honestly, I don't think I would have gotten hired if it wasn't for COVID, to be honest. We've had it's so funny. Someone actually just asked.
I just saw that.
Great minds think alike. But yeah, so I think we wouldn't accelerate it. So we were projecting that by 2025, 10% of consumers would purchase some sort of groceries online by 2025. In 2020, already 11% were buying their groceries online. So COVID definitely sped up our growth, and it really allowed us to speed up or ramp up. Before we didn't even have advertising avenues. We just had the platform to buy groceries. But now it really, what it looks like more is, now we have advertising. Now we have more retailers. Now today we're partnering with Michael's, we're partnering with Best Buy, Sephora. So we're trying to be a one-stop shop. So I think my work has just shifted because I have more retailers that we partner with and more consumers that we can reach. I also think I had to be onboarded remote because of COVID. So I think it's changed the culture a little bit of our company. What I was told is we were very heads down, get work done. But now because of COVID, we do more happy hours virtually, and we do more escape room and murder mysteries and things like that. So I think that's also changed a little bit. It's changed a little bit of the culture within our work.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. I think some students have entered questions. So Erin, if you want to.
Yeah, I see a couple coming in here. So Gabriela, are you able to just repeat your 3 majors again? International business, marketing,
and Leo. So leadership, ethics, and organizational sustainability. I don't know why they always want to make that major so long, because it's always a mouthful. And my name's already a mouthful. So I'm like, hi, I'm Gabriela Poveda, and I majored in blah, blah, blah. It's a lot.
That's okay. Okay, another question in here. What skills would you say are most important to have before graduating at SJU for any major or job?
I would say the ability to sell yourself. I think a lot of times we think, I'm guilty of this. Like, I'm like, no, I only have like X experience, but like, that's not going to translate to this. And I think being able to understand the transferable skills and really able to pinpoint where, how you can translate that in interviews, I think is so huge, because there's definitely been opportunities out there where I'm like, going for it, and I'm like, I don't have any skill sets that they're looking for. But I think back to some experience, I think back to, something to be able to tie it back together. And I also think right now I'm part of interviewing committee, so I'm actually interviewing a lot of students. And I think something that really stands out are those that are really good at the STAR method in terms of answering questions. If you don't know what the STAR method is, please go right now and search in Google and go back to reading it later. But it's basically, what was the situation? Like, if someone asks you a question, you answer with what was the situation? What was your task? How did you handle it? And then what were the results? So I think those two things, sell yourself and understand how to, better sell yourself using the STAR method in interviews.
That's a great point. I feel like it definitely helps to be prepared when you start to meet with employers and things like that to kind of pitch yourself. Okay, another question came in here from Sam. She said her question is that even though the career fair is online and it's not as personal, if it's in person, would you recommend still going?
Yes. And that's only because I genuinely think that anytime you have an opportunity to network, you should take it. Whether it's doing something like this and then you meet me and maybe I can help you down the line, or whether it's going to the career fair and meeting with employers one-on-one. I think it's always beneficial, no matter, also I will say, no matter what year you are. Go to career fair starting your freshman year, go to career fair your sophomore, then your junior, then your senior, because my freshman year I went and I was obviously a mess and I didn't know how to have full conversations. My resume was meh. And then sophomore year, I was like, okay, this is how I should probably actually dress. This is how resumes. And then by junior and senior year, I was like, okay, I'm comfortable and ready. It wasn't my first time going and I wasn't intimidated. So I think obviously that was in person, but I think in general, I think that having those networking opportunities is always super beneficial.
Yeah, that's great advice. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I have a question for you, actually. So I know you work at Instacart. Are you an avid Instacart user?
Oh my God, yes. And it's also for example, it's so convenient. I had my birthday on Saturday and my boyfriend and I were drinking and we realized we ran out of White Claws and we're like, oh my God, neither of us can go drive. But then an hour later, here comes 4 other cases to last you for the rest of the month. And you're like, this is incredible. Or, I come back from vacation or something and I'm like a long weekend and I'm like, we get back Sunday really late. And then 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday, all these groceries are delivered to me. And it's honestly really affordable for the consumer. We only charge a delivery fee if you don't meet a certain thresholds, but all of the prices are the same and you save so much time. So yes, I'm an avid user and I use it for all purposes.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like I always see the grocery store workers or whatever going around and grabbing all the things. And I'm like, that must be so effective. Why am I here shopping in person?
It just saves so much time. And especially because I live in California. So for me, the weather is so nice. And now I have a dog and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is, be inside a grocery store when I can just go out to a park or go take my dog for a walk with that time instead.
Yeah.
So jealous.
Well, speaking of going for walks and stuff like that, is there anything that you like to do for fun outside of work to kind of help balance your work and your personal life?
Yeah. So I think I love going on walks. Where I live, I'm right by the water. And there's a bunch of breweries within walking distance and restaurants. So my boyfriend and I, we love to just kind of walk around the area. I also bought a bike Can't say I've had the best experience with it. I'm trying to like biking. Still easing my way into it, but yeah. And I just bought a car, and it's a Jeep Gladiator. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but it's literally a Jeep Wrangler with a trunk bed. So we love taking off-roading, going camping, going to the water, off-roading it. Yeah. So anything really outside adventure is what I love to do.
That's awesome. How was the transition from the East Coast to the West Coast?
Honestly, I think the hardest part is my family. My entire family is there. So, but I've done it before because my immediate family is all in Colombia, and then family friends that become family. But then actually all of my actual family is in Colombia. So I think I'm used to a little bit of like the separation aspect of it. But then, yeah, so I think that's the hardest part. But funny enough, when I first moved here 3 years ago, I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'll be here for 3 to 5 years. And now it's been 3 years. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'll come back in like 3 to 5 years. It just keeps expanding. I mean, I love California. I don't think I'm ever leaving for now.
That's awesome. I'm so jealous.
Same. I'm like looking out my window and it's gross in Pennsylvania, and I want to be in California.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to drop them in the chat, or unmute yourself if you want.
Mm-hmm. Also, Gabriela, if you wanted to maybe put your contact info or LinkedIn in the chat for students, that this is probably a good time. Since
yeah, that would be great.
Questions. Oh, I think we just got one there.
Oh, awesome. Okay. James said that he's actually an Instacart shopper and was wondering if there are any more stores that are looking to partner with Instacart.
Yeah, so today we actually launched Michael's. So the craft store is now available, but even just this quarter, we're expanding. We added Walgreens, we added Family Dollar, we added the 100 stores that Aldi is expanding into. But yes, we're continuously seeing how we can continue to grow our retail partners, and then additionally to how we can better enhance the experience for Instacart shoppers. Like James, I don't know how much you work, but we gave $25 to every employee if they went out of their way to go get the COVID vaccine, or we did holiday bonuses. And in California, they even have more benefits. I think they even have health benefits. So it's, we're constantly looking at like with more retail partners, but we're also always looking at how we better enhance the experience of our Insta shoppers, because to be honest, with our shoppers, we wouldn't be able to, function as a business unit.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that you could use Instacart at Michael's.
Yeah, you can do Michael's. We have Sephora, Best Buy, Vitamin Shop.
Wow.
Yeah, literally like your Dick's Sporting Goods, Disney Store.
Awesome. What about Trader Joe's? That's a popular one.
I know. So unfortunately, the only two major retailers we don't have is Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. Whole Foods, obviously, because Amazon owns them, so they will now give us rights to deliver their units. But then for for Trader Joe's, their way that they do inventory is very unique. So the way our system works is the stores, each individual store actually sends us data to let us know whether or not they have certain levels of inventory. And that's then how we decide what we show to the consumer. Trader Joe's doesn't have those capabilities. So that's why, unfortunately, we haven't been able to enter into Trader Joe's.
Yeah, which is interesting, because Trader Joe's definitely is like hit or miss when you think about it. Like, I feel like every time I go, they're always stocking the shelves at the most random time, and like the Trader Joe's by my house won't have what the Trader Joe's like in the city has.
Yeah, so that's why it's a little interesting method. But I mean, I love Trader Joe's and I always shop there. But something that I will say, it's nice because we do have Sprouts, and so like I feel like that's somewhat of an equivalent for me. I'm like, okay, I'm still kind of eating healthy-ish.
Yeah. Is that like the equivalent to a Trader Joe's?
Yeah, I would say it's similar. I think there's a Sprouts in the city somewhere. My boyfriend's a big advocate. I didn't know it until I moved here, but he was a shopper there.
Oh, nice.
And also what I'm going to do, if anyone's in the page, I can send the referral link. So if anyone's interested in scoping out what opportunities we have, learning more about Instacart, we're more than happy to, like I said, share any information and all information to anyone that St. Joe's was interested in joining Instacart.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. So if nobody has any other questions, everyone, please join me in thanking Gabriela for joining us today and for providing such great insight into her career. Gabriela, we are so grateful for your time, and we hope to see you back on Hawk Hill soon, even though it doesn't sound like you are leaving California anytime in the near future. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.